You know about both of them. Pig, Howard, he's 2.5 weeks out of his surgery and progressing great, probably a month or so away. We'll know more as we get him. He's still in a boot on crutches, so we'll know more when he starts moving around. And Christian Harris is 3.5 months out of his ACL and really getting back at a rapid pace too. So we'll know more. You know, that 4 month is kind of the first indicator, and then generally that's a 6-month rule of thumb. But some come back in 4, some 5, some 6, some 7, some 8, some 12. So that's really all I got. And the schedule for training camp is pretty much the same the first week. First 3 days we're doing the split practice format. That hadn't changed, which will be a great chance to evaluate all the new faces. And then after a week, that's when we go to Milligan, which I'll talk to you guys more about that then, unless you want to now. And then we come back for another week before we start on NC State. So that's all I got.
Eric, can you talk a little bit about your recruiting class this year? The fact that you pretty much got, I think you got everybody that you signed. I don't know how that ranks with your other classes in that respect.
I think we did the same thing last year. I think, at least. John, you probably know better than I do. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, because you gave up on Lofton a couple of years ago. So yeah, you got to.
Yeah. So we've had. I guess what, 2 full recruiting classes now, and we've gotten everybody in. And you know, and it's a combination of things. I think balancing your class with the at-risk, how many at-risk guys, and we usually have a pretty good indicator early on whether or not we're going to qualify. And hey, it's more important now than ever because you can't oversign. You can't go over 25. So, but hey, it wouldn't happen if those guys didn't put in a lot of work to finish strong, and they all did.
Do you think there are a lot? I know in the past you probably had more needs across the board than you do now. What do you have any idea how this freshman class can factor into this depth chart?
No, it's a good question, and I think this is more the norm. What we hope is the norm every year, and I think what you're alluding to is last year they were going to have to play whether they were ready or not. So we probably put some guys in that shouldn't be playing, and this year it's going to be if they come in and perform and they're better than what we have, we're going to play them. And there'll be some guys that can help us on special teams and get them integrated that way. But we're hoping we don't have to play 17 or 18 like we did. You know, generally the rule of thumb's around that 8 to 10 guys where you're integrating them. They're playing. Maybe 1 or 2 guys are making a difference because it's hard. It's a hard thing.
Derek, on Phillips, how did that come about? Was that something after this year with Florida? Did you guys contact him? What was your relationship with him before this? And maybe just kind of go through how that happened.
Yeah, well, we had some guys on the staff that had a relationship. Of course, you know, so we just went through the process like we do with anybody of that nature and brought them up on a visit. You know, we did our diligence, and you know, and the process has gotten us to here. You know, really not any different than we do every other player. Just did it in a different time of year than what you normally do.
Derek, I think every time you talked to us this summer, you sort of hit on the unity theme. And why did you feel like that was so important going into this year?
Well, it's really important going into every year, and I've never been around a good football team. A championship football team that always didn't say, you know what, we just had great team chemistry, we had great leadership, we had tremendous unity. And I think that combined with the fact that it was pretty apparent we didn't have what we needed last year from that standpoint, just is probably why there was such a bigger emphasis on it.
Do you remember when you think you realized last year you didn't have that sort of unity that you needed?
I never did. You know, but it was always work in progress, and I'm not here to say we got it right now, because if we go into week 3, 4, 5 and we show that we don't, we did. And you don't really know until the end of the year. And you don't have it day one. It don't matter what team you have, because every year's a new year. So you start every year kind of fresh. You try to build chemistry and leadership throughout the course of the year, and then at the end of the year you look back and say, well, it's a pretty close team. Or, you know, we didn't do as good a job as we needed to. What do we got to do to fix it?
Do you feel like you're better positioned to attain it?
I feel like